All right, we are live. It's Mikey and Vinnie on YouTube, on
That's
Facebook, on
and,
your
and on your
on your
mind, wherever
mind.
you are this morning, this freaky Friday morning. We're here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 after 10. If you're joining us for the first time, hello to you. Vinny's in Seattle. I'm in LA, and we've been longtime friends, and we take on the world with information and judgmental comments every time we get on the air. But the
Judgment
thing
us, judging us.
I
No,
have
pray tell.
I've got something that may amaze you when you hear the facts.
I need
Where
to
do
be
you
amazed this morning.
where
Amaze
do
me.
where do you think the UFO capital, the hotbed of all UFO sightings, the center of UFO activity is on this planet Earth?
Wow. Logic would take me to the North Pole or the South Pole, but something tells me it's smack dab in the middle of Australia.
Well, they of course have as many sightings as anybody, but the number one, and we're logging over 7,000 incidents that date back to the 1940s, is the state of Washington.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on, and once you get
Right?
over the other side there, you got you got Sasquatches here, you got
Oh,
UFOs up there, you
and
got
and don't forget
lentils over here.
the Zags. Right in the middle of it is the best basketball team in America, playing in the most unlikely place in America, with UFOs going to. UFOs have season tickets to the Zag games. They sit right in
Yes.
the front row.
Well, you get that stretch between like Moses Lake and Spokane. I mean, there's a vibe out there, man.
It
There,
gets
there's
spooky. It gets
definite
spooky on a sunny day.
there's There's a vibe out there that's just a way strange. There's a little place I stop at when I drive out to see my friend Keith in Spokane. Uh,
Washtuckna.
no, it's oh man, it's on the way to Soap Lake.
I just wanted to say Washtuckna.
Okay, it's okay. And we mentioned the UFOs, we mentioned Squatch, we didn't mention the Cougars and the milkshakes. Um, but there's this place that I stop at, and I, there's always something bizarre going on that road. And if you really want to see something bizarre, instead of driving back on 90, come back on Route 2 all the way.
And
So,
what will I see?
um, there's some places there that you're looking around and going, I'm not alone here. And I mean, it's nothing but wheat fields and cornfields and bluegrass and whatever the hell else grows out there. But there's definitely places out there where you say, I'm here, my car is here, but what's there? And
The
there's
portal.
something there.
It's the
So
portal to other activity.
it doesn't shock me. I mean, if you'd have told me New Jersey, maybe I'd have been shocked, or Oklahoma, I'd have been shocked, and of course New Mexico, I never would have been shocked.
No, never at all.
No,
They
because
make
that's
their own
probably number
UFOs there.
two. But
Yeah,
um,
a
but
lot of UFO pilots go there to retire or to
there's
crash.
yeah, Alamogordo. Yes, just
Yeah,
go to Alamogordo, make a left, and you'll see the UFO retirement home. Matter of fact, funded by the Spolpakian government, which is the number one country. As a
Spopaki
matter of fact,
is a great landing spot for UFOs. There's
well,
no taxes.
according to the last Censogoski, that's
I
Spolpakian for
see.
the census,
I see.
fully 25% of people in Spolpakia are aliens.
It's a tax system that they can live with. It's more like home for them. And apparently, wherever the planet they come from, and they don't talk about it in terms of a name, they just refer to it as home. Their home planet is a lot like Spopaki. Everything is square. There aren't a lot of roads. They're not needed. People uh, communicate telepathically, and they
Yeah,
travel. They travel with light bodies that go anywhere they want them to go. So, in that respect, not much like Spolpakia, but
not much at all.
the square simple life, little piece of Earth or little piece of whatever planet you're on. That's very UFO like. They're homebodies. That's what they're looking for, a good place to live, and a timeshare that they can live with the deal.
Well, yeah, you got to get a timeshare, and that's something you don't get a lot out of in once you get over the Cascades. There, you got to buy. There's not a lot of
Yeah,
renting going on.
and
In places like Soap Lake and Ephrata and the Tri Cities probably has a lot of renting because they got that laboratory out there. What's
Hanford.
that? What's that? Yeah, Hanford, right? I mean, you know that that's got to be pulling. You know that what's going on in Hanford
What
has
happens
to
is
be pulling
it,
something from the universe.
it's the watchers. They fly by, they measure the air, they check and see if we know you guys have made mistakes in the past. We know you're bound to make terrible nuclear mistakes in the future. We're doing this not just for you, but for the Federation of Planets.
Yeah, it's like
See,
they even got a little song for out there.
can you be trusted with the nukes?
No, I'm a nuke watcher. I'm a nuke watcher.
They fly
Watching
right on
nukes go
by,
by.
flying on
My,
by.
my, my.
I can. It's hard to rhyme the next line, which is I can accelerate to 6,000 miles an hour in less than a second.
Long as
But
they got the almighty power.
that's one of the That's one of the questions that even Washington insiders will discuss, but not even begin to answer. And that is, how does a being inside one of these crafts accelerate to 6,000 miles an hour in the flash of an eye, and not kill the pilot in doing so? We should not,
Well,
as far as we know, given our bodies and our limitations, we could not survive that acceleration.
yeah, but they ain't got our bodies.
They've
They
got
got
they
they
got
got
their
something
bodies.
else, man. They got I mean, you look at them planets out there. I'm convinced that when we go to Mars, we're gonna find something, but it ain't gonna be. It's not gonna be some guy standing there going, "Hello," you
No,
know.
it'll be a guy saying, "I can't get out of this damn timeshare. This planet has been shut down like no other planet has been shut down for years now, and I can't get out of this timeshare."
Ever since they started, ever since they started electric cars, this is what happened. Look at this. Look at this mess.
I would like to add to the story, but I've never seen a UFO, and I realized last night thinking about it, I don't seek them out. I don't look up. I don't go out at night and check the skies and see what's there and see what I can see and compare it to the night before. And I wonder why I'm so curious about UFOs. But if they're here, why don't I go outside and take a look at them?
Mikey, I love going and looking at the sky. It was such a treat the other night to see the kiss of planets.
Oh yeah,
We had that.
what Mars and somebody, right?
Yeah, Venus and Mars. Or was it
Somebody
Venus
should
and
tell Paul.
Mercury?
We have to tell Paul McCartney about that. There's a
And
song in there somewhere.
he probably knew, but I'd probably seen it. But it was so cool to see that. You couldn't see it last night because we're back to Seattle weather. But the night before was clear. You could look up in the sky and you could see it. And I could imagine that people, because when I went on Facebook to look at something, and there was somebody that I know had posted a photo of two lights hanging over some town he was in or something like that.
Right.
And it was clearly the two planets that were up there and hanging out. I mean, you could tell it was the same distance and everything. And it was crazy. I mean, it was nuts. It was like you look it up and you see, and this guy's like, who knows, strange lights coming from above. I don't know, listen, I'm not stupid enough to not think that there's something out there, that there's something else, that we're not the only things in this vast expanse of universe. But good Lord, man, I don't know that it's gonna, when we see it, when we meet it, and we will, because the rich guys are trying to get off the planet as quickly as they can. It's going to be interesting. I hope I'm around to see it. I hope, and it's not going to look like Klaatu, from, was it?
No, I think we have a pretty good idea what they're going to look like. The little ones will be called the little grays. Then there's the big green ones, and then there's 5 or 6 different groups that are been studied, named, and witnesses have had stories to tell about each of them. I've never seen anything like that. And I interviewed a guy who did a book with only people who had been so-called taken,
Yeah,
alien abductions.
yeah.
And to a person, if anyone has close contact with a alien, it never works out well for them. They don't become happier people. They don't become more knowing. They become troubled. They become uncomfortable in their own skin. They have a difficult time with emotions. it's not a good marriage. And it's not like there was an implant or an operation or some sort of probing going on. It's just the contact itself was enough to change everything. And changed it to a place that it shouldn't be. And they had feelings that they couldn't keep.
That explains one of my ex-wives.
Oh dear.
Now I think about it, that explains a lot, man. I'm not gonna single one out. I'm just saying. I'm not
somewhere
saying, I'm
somewhere in
just
there
saying.
there was a visitation.
Somewhere on a ride to Eastern Washington.
Poor
Oh
Eastern
man.
Washington.
So we gotta say good morning. Let's see. Ralph is listening. Ralph, a good friend from back in Pittsburgh. He's going through a little tough time right now. I talked to him off, on Facebook, and good guy, and he has his own show. The way I see it in Pittsburgh, he's got a little rough time going right now. So we're thinking of you. Mickey is on us, and Linda. Oh, Linda is listening. Oh, Michael, you should know Linda.
The lovely Linda.
Linda Lou, man, you should know her, man.
They call my baby Patty, but her real name is Linda Lou.
Is Linda Lou. I know Linda since 19.
Okay,
Let's just say that when you say about people growing up with somebody, we were both much shorter and much smaller, and now we're much taller and much bigger from the first time we met.
What was the number of your public school together?
We did not go to public school together. I think she went to PS 69, if I'm not mistaken, and I went to St. Joan of Arc. No, I think Linda went to St. Joan of Arc, but we were never in the same class. She might have gone to St. Joan of Arc for a couple of years. I forget now, but I think we both wound up. She went to 69, and I went to 152 after I got thrown out of.
At St. Joan of Arc, what was the name of your sports teams?
We didn't have sports teams.
Passed up a real naming.
Yeah,
opportunity.
I think it was the St. Joan of Arc Bonfires.
I was going to say Balls of Fire.
The Stakes? I don't know.
Remember the Chicago Fire? Well, the St. Joan of Arc Fire was smaller but more memorable.
Yeah, we didn't have sports teams back then. And we had the CYO, and you could go and join like the CYO league. But I don't remember St. Joan of Arc ever having a team except 2 years in a row. When I was older, St. Joan of Arc sponsored a women's girls, we called them back then, girls softball team, and I was the manager, the coach.
Well, how did you swing that?
And let me tell you something.
So there is crying in baseball.
Yes, there was. This was the rowdiest bunch of women. You talk about some intimidating people, man. It was one of the greatest and the greatest experiences of my life. We weren't good, but we played our butts off, and we had a great time.
Showing up is a treat.
Just showing up. Our practice. People would come to watch our practices. I mean, we had this one woman that used to pitch, Betty Clemens, I think her name was, if I'm not mistaken, and she mastered the art of the chin music with a softball.
Ooh. She had a little bit of Bob Gibson in her, did she?
Oh, yeah. The second year, we actually got suspended from the league because she actually threw at somebody, I believe.
In fact, that reminds me, I got kicked out of an over 40 softball game by the umpire. There was a close play at first base, and he hadn't called it, and I was at bat. And the manager from the other team was a friend of mine. And he came out and was telling the umpire what to do and what to say. And I said, look, if you're going to let him call the play, we don't need you. You can go home. And he said, no, you can go home. And that was it. That's the only game I ever got kicked out of in my life. My big mouth at first base. While I was at bat, I didn't even get my hit.
The stupid things you do when you give it. No, we didn't have sports teams, but yeah, Linda just she did go to St. Joan of Arc, so, which,
Well, I'd like to think they have sports teams.
A number of interesting people from St. Joan of Arc. And a number of, and matter of fact, it's funny because I still keep in touch with many of them today from St. Joan of Arc that, because we all hung out. I mean, everybody went to different schools, but we all hung out like on 83rd Street or 82nd Street. Everybody came down, and no matter what school you went to, didn't matter. You came and you hung out on either 82nd Street, 78th Street Park, 90th Street.
Do you guys ever talk about Joan of Arc
getting?
Do you ever talk about Joan of Arc getting a raw deal?
Every year at the barbecue.
Like the rational people would say, but wait a minute, they made her a saint after they burned her, after they took her to war, after they arrested her under false pretenses, after all that she'd been through, then they made her a saint?
It's a strange world we live in, man. Well, she said, she sacrificed. It's funny. I don't know.
What were her miracles, though? What miracles did she perform?
I don't know. I got to tell you.
She knocked out the Tippi Hedren look with the short hair. That was a miracle.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, again, my memory might be foggy. I spent 4 years in St. Joan of Arc, and I can't remember to this day, although I've been lucky enough to block out a lot of stuff that happened here, but I can't remember to this day if they ever taught us about St. Joan of Arc and who she was.
Well, the story doesn't make sense. She was in the army, but she wasn't. She was in the church, but she wasn't. She was in trouble, but she wasn't. And finally, to settle the matter, they burned her alive.
Well, that's what happens. Now they just cancel you. But in those days, canceling had a whole different
it took all day, plus a lot of underbrush. We need more kindling. Get me kindling.
That's a canceling for your ass.
Now that's a cancel.
We'll cancel. So we're going to show you how we'll cancel you.
And as an example to the next Joan of Arc, bring me Jim Jordan. Bring him forth.
Oh man. Yeah. It's funny. I love that Linda's on because she's sending me notes reminding me. Yeah, our sports team was the Wino Lords.
The Wino Lords.
The Wino Lords. We used to go beating everybody up. That was our sport. I mean, that was kind of our sport. Was going out. People would come to you. It was like a really cool thing because you'd be on 82nd Street. The people from 94th Street would come down 37th Avenue. You'd go up 37th Avenue, and then you'd fight. And people would fight each other. And then after we fight, then we'd go get a couple of quarts of beer or a bottle of Boone's Farm apple wine or something, and we'd drink. And I was hitting. Then the next week, maybe the guys from 78th Street Park came down.
They wanted some of that Joan of Arc magic. They wanted
and we fight. And then we split, and then we drink. It was it's growing up in a way that will be forever lost.
Did you fight indiscriminately, or did you put forth your boxing champion, your street fighter?
No. We fought each other. Sometimes two guys fought, each other. Sometimes it was a gang fight. But it wasn't, it was like, nobody was looking to hurt anybody. We were just like, we're the baddest street in town, man. We're the deuce. We're 82nd Street.
So how old were you there in the streets of 82nd Street?
So this was probably, I don't know, 12, 13, 14, something like that. You got
puberty grand.
Piss and vinegar going on all over the place, man.
This is God's gift to New York and Queens especially is puberty. Now watch this, he'll say. Wait, right. Get a load of what you're going to get here.
But then we found out about getting stoned. And after we found out about getting stoned, forget about it. No more fighting.
That happened in California too.
Oh, I don't want to fight. I want to get high. Oh man, I wouldn't. I don't know that I do it the same way all over again. Sometimes I say I would, and sometimes I say I wouldn't. I wouldn't, Mikey. But it was a great way to grow up, man.
If you're going to do it all over again, I want conditions. I want to know what I know now, and I want to be the wise one.
If I do it all over again, I want to be there for a couple of people when they're ODing, so I can get them to a hospital. That's what I want. That's what I'd want. That's what I'd want. I'd want, if I was going to do it all over again, the first thing I'd ask God for is to put me in a place where I could save a couple of my friends' lives and I could be talking to them today instead of just praying for their souls.
I probably would do something much more mundane, like warn everyone that Chubby Checker was going to have a hit, but it was still going to be okay. It was
And a
going to be a thing.
follow-up hit that was
It
going
was
to
going
be
to be.
okay.
There was going to be a thing called Hell and Ready. We were going to get past that. At the time, it didn't seem like we were going to, but we did make it. The singer-songwriter trend took a few odd turns and left us with strange people, but we got past most of it.
Yeah, but it gave us Laura Nero, and if it gave us Laura Nero, it was okay with me.
Hey, it's okay with me. In fact, it's okay with Three Dog Night as well.
Yeah, loved Laura Nero, man. I mean, she was like on the
In
forefront.
the fifth dimension.
And the
Made
fifth
a career.
dimension. And now, is Billy Daniels and Marilyn McCoo still married?
I think they're still performing together. Legally tied, I couldn't say.
Yeah, I wonder if because that would have to be one of music's longest marriages. I mean, they were together
longer than Sonny and Cher.
Well, I mean, I had mail that took longer to get to its destination, and Sonny and Cher were married. I mean, what were they married like?
Remember, they were married before they had the hits. Before.
Yeah, but they were great, man. I mean, Sonny and Cher was really. I mean, they were kind of underestimated a bit. But,
well, they took a page out of Louis Prima and Keely Smith, didn't they?
Yeah, they really did. I mean, yeah, you
did.
look at Sonny and Cher in their early days, and that's exactly. I mean, I'm surprised that Sonny doesn't walk around Cher, with the hamina basically boosily bop, Look it up, kids. Louis Prima, Sonny and Cher. Prima is Prima. And check out Sam Buchanan. You know what we should do at the end of the show?
Play a song.
We should put. Well, we can't because otherwise we'll go to
we gotta pay.
copyright jail. We gotta pay. We gotta pay for the song. We gotta pay. Anyway, so I got up this morning. I got on the Patuta, the intranet here, and one of the things that happens today in our society, in our lives, is that you turn on Twitter, the Twitter thing. Which I don't know. You don't do Twitter that much. You're not on Twitter.
My handle is King of the Beats. If anybody wants to Twitter me.
Oh, okay. We should put that on your thing there because.
And I never go there. So
because there is a guy named Michael Knight that's on Twitter as Michael Knight. He's a racing announcer, I think, or something.
Well, good for him.
He has something to do with motorsports. And you've always had that problem, is there's a lot of people with your name.
Sometimes, yeah.
See, that's the great thing about Vinnie Riccici.
That's why my after name is John Michael Knight.
And that's why the other guy had to be Michael B. Knight, right?
Yes.
The Ted and what the heck was his other? He was he's on All My Children for years.
He's a daytime star, yeah.
Yeah, daytime soap star. Anyway, so I get up this morning, I put on the Twitter, and I'm looking at the Twitter, and the little box there that says trending, and so I look, and Richard Simmons is trending.
Has he been found?
Well, see, that's the thing. You never really, when you see that, you don't know. The first reaction is that he's dead. He died. When you get to a certain thing, like I saw, who was the actor that I just saw just the other day? Sizemore. He was in Heat.
Tom
Sizemore, Saving Private Ryan. I guess he's in. If he hasn't passed away already, they were considering pulling the plug on him because he just had a terrible, I guess, drug addiction.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he had a stroke and stuff like that. So, anyway.
Yeah, a lot of people tried to save him. He had a lot of people on his side, but it didn't work out yet.
Yeah, sometimes you can't save people, Michael. Sometimes
I don't know if I've ever had an opportunity to save anyone. I don't think any advice I've ever given saved anyone's life. I don't think any opportunity that I've had in the real world to, like you gave CPR one time.
Yeah.
I've never had that opportunity when someone's life is at stake and there's no one else to call. So Nope, I don't know about that. And I don't know that advice changes people's minds, especially when they're dealing with addiction. It's awfully strong.
Yeah, it's there are some people that just get so into it, so far down the hole that they can't get up. But anyway, So I see the Richard Simmons deal, and I go on it, and I say, oh, because of course, you and I and Richard Simmons, we're old buddies. I mean, he was hitting on me that day in the studio. I mean,
Well, it was our mistake to wear shorts.
I was like, oh, dude, are you barking up the wrong tree? But he was a
Well,
nice guy. I mean, he was a fun guest to have.
he's crazy, man. He brings lots of energy and madness, and he's
Man,
funny.
now that dude, you could tell me he was an alien, and I would
Yeah.
believe you because he's got more energy than any other two people I've ever met. Man, this dude is
Finally,
bouncing
he
and
finally he burned out his costume or whatever he was wearing to make him look human, and he withdrew from the world, as they do.
yeah. But the only reason he was trending is that people were just happening to mention his name.
Wow.
Saying it's time for him to come back. It's the world needs people like him right now, and you know what? I don't know that I 100% disagree with that. I
I
mean,
think you're right.
we've lost that kind of. Well, first of all, he helped a gazunda amount of people lose weight
And have
um,
fun doing it.
and have fun doing it, and he got people up, and he got them exercising. Walk down the street and look at people since Richard Simmons has gone incognito. The whole freaking nation looks like me now. I used to be the biggest guy everywhere I went. Now I'm not even the biggest man everywhere I went. I mean,
Well, it must
it's
have been the
amazing.
pandemic. Don't you think it was the pandemic,
I think it was going on before the pandemic,
the
Michael.
indoor life?
I think it's the food that we eat, the fast food generation. I mean, I think it's a lot of things. People sit in front of their TVs, they sit in front of their computers. I'm guilty of it. But even at age 67, I'm still trying to fight it. I fight it every day.
Well, here's
I
something. You mentioned a name like Richard Simmons that comes out of a blast from the past. Here's a name that I heard this morning, a man that I had never heard of, that I should have heard of. And his name, let me get this right, is Ales, A-L-E-S, Bialyatsky. Ales Bialyatsky. And
is he
he's an activist from Belarus, and he
he's
won
the
the Nobel Prize.
Peace Prize guy that they
Yeah,
decided if you win the peace, some countries you win the Peace Prize, they throw a parade.
not in
Other
Belarus.
countries, you win the Peace Prize, they put you in a dungeon.
Yes,
Um,
he got 10 years yesterday, and that's where he'll probably die because of his age. So the death sentence and the disgust that Belarus has with even the mention of peace and someone of one of their own people, their neighbor, their brethren, their brother is awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, and it's considered such a disgusting affront to the government of Belarus that he gets 10 years. And that's enough to make Richard Simmons withdraw from the world.
yeah, I mean, you could see that because here you go. You have, I hope people look at that and look at this and listen. Whether you are liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican, it doesn't
Spolpakian.
matter. Spolpakian, it doesn't matter. Um, this is what's at stake in our country today.
And Ron DeSantis stands on the side of 10 years for the Peace Prize. You can bet your
Well,
ass on that one.
yeah, I just hope people see that kind of stuff and see that and don't take the attitude that couldn't happen here. Now I don't know that it would happen in quite the same way, but if you have an autocratic government where it's one party rule or it's somebody can say, well, I don't want to leave the presidency, or I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that. These are the kind of things that you get with that. And
And Vinny,
so,
it wouldn't be too surprising in the near future to have our Peace Prize winner saying Jim Jordan's a putz, and he'll get 10 years for that because the right
well,
people are in power. The right people
yeah.
say he's an opportunist that we've welcomed him too long. It's time for him to pay his price for being a Peace Prize, guys. Federal prison.
And I watched the Medal of Honor ceremony this morning
I saw some of that.
with the gentleman Paris. I should have wrote it down and I forgot. But anyway, a one of the first African American Green Berets. And this guy in 1965, with you could imagine the abuse that a black soldier took in 1965.
Just in training.
Just in training and was couldn't eat certain places, couldn't go certain places because I think it was from Louisiana, couldn't get a seat on a bus. And here's this guy now, they're under attack in Vietnam. And this guy, he's a captain, I believe, at the time. And he's running through a rice paddy, pulling his soldiers out.
Wounded soldiers.
Wounded soldiers who can't move. One guy's trapped in some kind of sewer thing. And he's pulling out. He's not asking them if they're black or white. He's not asking them, he doesn't have a sign saying, I rescue colored only.
Right.
He just snapped into action. He saved human beings. And to watch that ceremony, and to watch this guy get up and stand next to the president and get that medal was so moving to me because, and listen, you can make the argument we shouldn't have been in Vietnam, and I agree with that, but that's what these people believed that they were fighting for, is so that you don't win the Nobel Peace Prize and get put in jail. So that
Plus,
you have the freedom to speak out against the government if you don't like it.
And the special forces in Vietnam, we're not saying, this is a controversial war. We're going to give about 20%. We'll special force a little bit in the morning, then we'll take the afternoon off. Then we have a long lunch, and we walk around and clean our guns and stuff. And if we feel like it, maybe some more special forces just before dinner. But for the rest of the time, we're on put us on the back burner because we know this is a different war. I don't want you counting on the special forces if you need like somebody to shoot.
No, not until probably not until the 70, the middle 70s when it had become apparent that we were just fighting for nothing and shouldn't have even been there. Did I think any soldiers or anything? I mean, when those guys went over in 64, 65, 66, 67, they believed they were going over to fight for democracy, to fight for our right to exist.
I always tell this story, Vinny, and it seems like I told it just a week ago. Ho Chi Minh was having trouble with the French, and he was leading the opposition. He wanted to free Vietnam. He didn't want to be a French colony. And he wanted Cambodia and Laos to come along. So he went to the United States, secret meeting, said, here's my plan. We're gonna revolt. We're gonna take down the French government. We're gonna install our own government. We're gonna be a free country, like we've always meant to be. It's gonna be called Vietnam. They said, nah, fuck you. We're with the French. Nice meeting. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah.
We pass. And he never forgot that. And guess who won that war?
Well, as we all have found out, when you go to some place where you're not wanted, people can make it extremely tough for you to be there.
And guess who forgot that? His name is Vladimir. Guess who forgot all of that, Vinny?
Yep.
He forgot every inch of that story. He can't remember a word of it. And it's all happening again.
And unfortunately, it'll probably happen throughout the time that man is on Earth. Because there's always people who think that they need to possess something. They need to, they need to overrun other people. These countries, listen, if Ukraine wants to be free, they deserve to be free. If Vietnam wants to be free, what the hell do they need a country halfway around the world telling them what to do?
And with the exception of probably some ideas about cuisine that they put into their own food, what did the French offer them that they didn't have naturally in their own nation, among their own people already?
Bidets.
Okay.
Yeah, I bet you if you go, I've never been to Vietnam, but I bet you if you go to Vietnam, even in them straw huts, you have a bidet.
Well, I was thinking they were add cream to everything. What the hell are you doing? I'm making breakfast. This is eggs, more cream.
Cream. Get some heavy cream in there. Cream fraiche.
Who serves oysters and seafood with cream? The French.
The French.
And guess how it tastes? Guess how that tastes?
I don't know. What is that? Oysters? That's not oysters Rockefeller. What's the?
They do that in Normandy.
Yeah.
Lots
What
of
is?
cream with the seafood.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Yeah. I can't. I'm not a.
Anyway, it tastes great.
Yeah. I can't. I can't do milk and seafood. Like when I was a
Well,
kid,
it seems
and I would get a
unlikely, but
tuna
they make
fish
it work.
sandwich on
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah.
I would. I couldn't drink milk and eat the tuna fish sandwich. It didn't mix.
You were a finicky eater. I know. I couldn't eat tomatoes. Something was wrong with me. I love them now, but something at the age where milk and tuna fish sandwiches won't go together.
Yeah.
Maybe at Thanksgiving you don't want your food to touch. Were you ever one of those kids?
No. I mixed it. Matter of fact, I mixed everything up. I
Good advice.
still to this day, love to take mashed potatoes, tuna fish, and peas, and put them all together and eat it like that.
I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that's an idea that's whose time has come. In fact, it should be called any Vinnie's special.
I'd have something else as Vinny special, but it's. I
Well,
remember my
this would be
grandmother. That was like one of our.
Vinnie's alternate.
Yeah. Vinny's other special. Vinny's not so special. I don't know. I didn't like eggs when I was a kid. I didn't eat eggs. The only way I started eating eggs, and Linda, if she's still listening, is going to love this story. When I would go to Freddie's house.
Did she ever scramble your eggs?
No. We never scrambled eggs, Linda and I. When I would go to Freddie's house, Mr. Schulman, Freddie's father, wouldn't let us leave until we ate eggs. He would be up on Saturday morning. He drove a cab, but he didn't drive on Saturdays. And he would be up. He'd go up there, and Hi would be up there scrambling eggs. And, call for Freddie, come on up. We'll go up 3B and walk in the kitchen. You got to eat your eggs before you go. But I don't eat it, Mr. Schulman. I don't eat eggs. No, you got to eat your eggs. All right, I'll eat the eggs so we can get out of here. So, and I hated him for, but then all of a sudden I started liking him. He put salt on them. Okay, boom. And that's how I started to like eggs. Otherwise, when I was a kid, I would go near eggs and I wouldn't go near cheese.
There's a
except on pizza.
breakfast suggestion that I got by watching British murder mysteries. And that is they put butter on the toast and then they put the marmalade over the butter.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever tried that?
I always do it that way.
Okay, well, I didn't do it that way till I like proper murders, so I've watched British murders, and I like a second and third victim if we get too close to the murderer. But they always take time to have at least one meal. There's always a big dining room scene where everyone gets insulted by the guy at the head of the table or something, or a breakfast scene where there's a wasp in the marmalade, but butter. Let the butter melt, and then marmalade over the top. I may have to have some of this when we get off.
Yeah, I got some. Nice
And there's your simple toast, morning toast and coffee. It's the food for an emperor.
A lot of people do the what is it now? The avocado toast.
Yeah, that's more lunch. That's more lunch to me.
Yeah, see, now that's a big breakfast thing now. Is avocado toast. You take avocado, you put it on toast. Throw a little feta cheese on top of it, although I like to do it with
Parmesan?
a little bit of pecorino and romano. I give it a little Italian.
Hard cheese.
Yeah, like a hard cheese, and because I love that pecorino and romano cheese. I mean, I could eat. I just sometimes I just snack on it out of the container without putting it on.
Now, do you buy it? Do you buy it shredded, or do you buy the cheese and shred it at home?
I buy it chipped.
Chipped,
so it's like in big little pieces.
Big little pieces.
I mean, little pieces. I don't have, I don't have all of my stuff here back in Pittsburgh. I have my cheese grater and all my kitchen stuff is back there. I got to go get it. Yeah, I mean, I'm basically been working here for 3 years with a hot plate and a Keurig and a microwave.
You can go a long way with that, though.
Oh yeah, no. Listen, I feed myself quite well. I'm not complaining, but When I have the cheese grater, and I guess I could go buy one. I'm just lazy. Um, then you get the pecorino romano, and you just you grate it, and it's
Yeah, I
great
love
because you
that.
have
I love freshly grated hard Italian cheese.
yeah the two
And
sides of the cheese grater can give you either the little pieces or the fine powder.
I like
Either
the little
way,
pieces because they melt on the
yeah,
hot pasta.
yeah. See, I like that too. And then when I go down to my sister's house, she makes baked ziti and she puts that stuff in there and maron. Oh my God, I
She makes
keep
baked
telling her.
ziti. Oh, I
Oh,
love
she
baked
makes baked.
ziti.
I'm telling you, Michael. When I take my trip down the coast this year, when I figure out when this is going to happen, because I want to drive down the coast all the way to San Diego. Um,
That's some coastal driving.
some coastal driving, yes. I think that I will stop at Marianne's and get a plate of baked ziti and bring it down to you.
Ooh, we got a deal.
And we'll get you some. I keep telling her she should retire from her insurance job and just go make the baked ziti because when she makes it, she's made it a few times for like that night out
Oh
thing that
yes,
they have every year.
right.
And there's guys that like people offer to buy what's left over from her.
Ooh.
I mean, that's how good it is. People like taste it and they go, "Whoa!"
Well,
So,
I give her a standing ovation. Thanks for the. She's got a secret weapon there. I hope she knows it.
yeah, no, she knows it. Matter of fact, I have. I actually took video of her making it on Thanksgiving, so I'll have to put that together sometime and show you Marianne making baked ziti. It's hilarious. No, it's Christmas that she made it. Oh, it was awesome. I when I taste that, it's like my mother and father are sitting at the table.
I don't know if ESPN is going to cover this because it's a bit of an embarrassment for the National Football League, and they're in bed quite convincingly with the NFL. They
Yeah.
don't run negative stories. They didn't run the last one about the brain injuries that they should have, but they didn't. But CNN did run it today, and that is the worst teams for nutrition, cleanliness, and appointments for the benefit of the team. The
Ah,
worst and the best. And I was surprised at the very best because it was the Minnesota Vikings,
really?
followed by the Miami Dolphins, and the Las Vegas Raiders were third for best teams for nutrition, health, and amenities for maintaining that health and treatment of those who might be injured.
Well, now
Now,
that's
for the top players, there's always the bottom, and the bottom three really surprised me. Los Angeles Chargers, the Arizona Cardinals, and the worst was the Washington Commanders.
I would have. Yeah, I probably would have put that at those three in there. That did the top ones surprise me, but the bottom ones don't surprise me that much. I mean, Daniel Snyder is as
Yeah.
cheap as you can be with that team. I'm surprised they don't just get like gas station tuna fish sandwiches for their training table.
And I watch a lot of football, but I don't get the impression from the Minnesota Vikings that they're a superior organization, but the vote says they are. So you have to, I mean, only players had a vote in this.
Well, a friend of mine that I know, I don't know, a friend and acquaintance. I'm not going to go friend, but an acquaintance of mine is the nutritionist for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned her.
Yeah, Leslie Bonsi, who's from Pittsburgh, and she's a nationally renowned nutritionist, and she I mean she's on the stick with that kind of stuff. I mean
She feeds champions. That's what
well
she does.
she feeds champions. I don't know if she gets a ring or not, but she should.
She should.
Um, but they listen. I should listen to her advice and eat better. But yeah, I mean, I always looked at what the Seahawks served, and they always looked like they served good food. But guys go out and I mean, you're a 300-pound lineman, man. You're out driving around at midnight. Where you going? You're going in and out, right? I mean, that's.
I would go the extra miles to get to check out Dick's, only because I haven't been there in a long time. But
Dick's is fine. I had Dick's for lunch yesterday. Just a little bit. Just one double. One Dick's Deluxe. And I got to tell you, I was disappointed in it.
oh, really?
Yeah, I got to tell you, it was. And I love Dick's, and maybe I just got a bad hamburger or something. But it was
Well,
the meat was dry, and it wasn't. It wasn't.
see, that's not right, because
It wasn't Dick's.
A Dick's customer would notice that immediately,
Yeah.
and so would an In-N-Out customer. First of all, I don't go to any place that doesn't actually cook their burgers. If they, I can heat one up at home. I can heat up sliders from Royal Castle at home.
Oh yeah.
I want you to cook these burgers. And that's what In-N-Out does so well. They cook them so fast. They cook them the way you want them. They cook them with all the sides the way you want. The order will be right. The packaging will be good. You'll have to ask twice for napkins. Don't ask me why. But if you have a mustache, you must have napkins with a cheeseburger.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
I have to remind them of that. I said, mustache maintenance. Mustache maintenance. Yes, I need something else. And I don't need ketchup. I need napkins. It's
Yeah,
my
you
only
gotta
complaint
have.
about
Yeah,
In
you
and
gotta
Out.
have In and Out.
And I've had In and Out here, there, and around. And there's one in the valley, the San Fernando Valley, that I take that I go out to pick up the order for dinner with the grandkids. Everybody has their own order. Even the 3-year-old, even the 7-year-old knows exactly what they want from In and Out. And they cook your burger and put it in a bag, and off you go. And it's the same every time. You don't get a dry burger and weird fries from In and Out.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't. It. Yeah, I've never had. I've had In and Out burgers in Oregon. I've had In and Out burgers in California, northern and southern, and I've had In and Out burgers in Arizona, and have never, ever, ever, ever had a bad In and Out burger.
And look inside there sometime when you're waiting for your order. Those people are busy. That
It's
is one
you're moving,
busy
man.
place. Everybody is working for the man.
Yeah,
It is a burger heaven.
you're moving now. Now I'm sure I'll go back to Dick's at some point, and the burger will be good. Sometimes, listen. Sometimes you get a bum one. It happens. I was shocked.
Yeah.
I mean, and it wasn't like I got it and ate it. I got it and I took it down to the waterfront and sat at the little picnic table there and had my lunch while I was watching the sound. And by the time I got it and opened it up and bit into it, it was like, oh man,
Some burgers don't survive the drive very well. Just taking them home for the family.
yeah.
They're they're not hot when you get there.
I
And
sat
it's
on this
and
one
no
all the way down. Try to
well,
keep it like a tank.
I'll try that, but it sounds a little odd.
Hey, you know.
What do you think? You get 10 years for that in Slovakia. What did he do? He sat on his burger as he was driving down to lunch. 10
Well,
years.
I thought maybe it would have hatched on the way down.
Oh, it's a Freaky Friday, ladies and gentlemen. We have morose Mondays, wacky Wednesdays, and Freaky Fridays. And Vinny's got a show tomorrow. What's on your program? I know you
Uh,
love the car you're driving.
yes. Big news coming out of California, Mikey. Um, the internet, the automotive collector internet, is abuzz. Is on DEFCON 3 this week.
For Tesla?
No, not for Tesla. You know what CARB is?
Carb.
CARB, the
No.
California Air Resources Board.
Uh-oh. They have their knickers in a twist, I'll bet you.
They are talking about banning hexavalent chromium, which is the process that is used to put chrome on metal for custom and hot rod cars and all cars.
But mostly it's custom work.
Chrome headers, chrome, door handles, moldings, grills, all sorts of chrome. You look at some of those old hot rods, and they have the chrome firewalls. Well, all that stuff.
Like a 55 Mercury that's been chromed to hither and far.
Right, the bullets and rechroming all parts on collector cars, all different stuff. Anyway, it is it's used in electroplating in it, and it produces a carcinogen
No doubt.
that is known to cause cancer. And let's see, I'm just looking at the solution that is used in it is if it gets into the groundwater, if it goes up, the chrome pieces lodge in your lung. So CARB is on the road to banning chrome plating in California.
Is it a big business?
Yeah, it's a very big business. I mean, a lot of custom car people, especially now with people that restore old cars. You know, a lot of old cars now don't go to the junkyard anymore. A lot of people buy them and they restore them, they rebuild them.
It sounds like the guy. Sounds like the guy who might be chroming your 55 Mercury is not been there for years. What happened to the guy that used to be here?
Cancer, but that's okay. I got chrome pipes on my car.
I got yeah.
Anyway, they want to ban use in decorative plating by January 2027, then ban hard plating and chromic acid anodizing by January 2039. Well, as you could imagine.
Can't they change the process to make it safer?
Well, that's what they're looking at. That's what they're trying to figure out. Is there a way that we can do this and give it the durability and all of the stuff that you get with chrome?
See, this is what the aliens are talking. This is what the aliens were talking about, Vinnie. They say they were so close, but they couldn't get the chroming thing right. So we had to show them how to do that. They were going to do overpasses that were way weird. We had to show them how to build a freeway. They couldn't get the landing system on the B-4 bomber. We had to show them how to do retracting wheels.
Well, they kept landing.
They're interesting people. They have an upside. They have frontage roads. They have Spolpakia, but there's so much they do wrong, and it's hard to tell them. It's hard to get them to see the light.
Well, in the case of Spolpakia, Mikey, the problem was they decided because they didn't have the funds to do it, to build a freeway, but they had some money, so they built the frontage roads.
I thought that was a good start.
They said, let's put something in. Let's show the people that we're doing something. So
we have the best intentions.
A 1-lane road each way, 8 lanes apart. So this way, when they do eventually get the money from America, because we're the only people who are going to give them the money to build a freeway, and it'll come because, as many people know that have studied Spolpakia, they are very rich in the stuff you need to make batteries.
Yeah. And I think they're going to sell the naming rights to the freeway, and I know who's going to get them.
Who?
The St. Joan of Arc.
No, I think it's called the Marshall Tito Freeway.
Because it goes near Yugoslavia, but fortunately not into Yugoslavia. Spolpakian roads don't really go anywhere. You can go across, you can go up and down, but you can't go there.
Right. We haven't paid proper tribute to the strongman Marshall Tito from the 60s in Yugoslavia. So he gets
and guys
66 and 66A. They haven't named it for anybody yet. They're waiting to have a hero. It was going to be the George Reeves Freeway, but
I like that idea.
You know that they should name the Pasadena Freeway the George Reeves Freeway, shouldn't they?
Well, the Hollywood Freeway would be the George Reeves Freeway.
Yeah, but he's buried in Pasadena. Started at the Pasadena Playhouse.
It's already got so many names. It was the 11. It was the 110. It's the Pasadena. It's the Arroyo. It's I don't know if there's anything else I can say about it. It's the first freeway in the world.
Yeah.
And Spolpakia could have taken a page out of the Pasadena Freeway book because they went to extra special care to bank the turns the wrong way in 1947. And believe me, first time you drive on the Pasadena Freeway, it will eat you up. You have to know about these terms.
I have.
Locals will show you the way, but if you're a first time driver on the Pasadena Freeway, I say go 50 and keep your eyes open.
I remember coming down that thing for the first time, man, and I'm like, this feels like it's in New York, man. This doesn't feel like
Yeah.
it's in California. This
And
thing
it turns and twists. It's not straight.
yeah. I mean, it's just like this and this, and you're right. It's you're expecting to go this way, and you kind of go this way. It's odd.
The exits and the entrances are free fall zones. Anything can happen because people will take a chance to merge. There's no merging lane. You just go down the freeway and you better find a spot. And it can be daunting to some folks for the first time.
So yeah, so we will. So we're going to talk about that. Ford has applied for a patent for cars that repossess themselves.
They just go home.
Yeah, it comes home. If you don't pay the bill, it just backs out of your driveway. It goes back to the dealer.
Self-driving.
Self-driving repossession.
This car's got 20 more miles on it than it should. I thought we drove it home. We know. Well, yes, but first we drove it to Dick's.
Yeah.
Then we drove it
happened?
home.
Yes. What happened here? And I'm driving the Vinnie. What are you driving this week? Car is the Audi RS3.
And you like it. What did they
What
do
a
right?
freaking car, man! What a freaking car! Oh my God, I can't wait. I haven't taken it out on the freeway yet. I've just kind of zipped around the local streets with it. But tomorrow, after Cars and Coffee down in Shoreline, I'll get it out on the I-5 and up to the Joe Riccici Memorial Road Test course, and we'll have some fun with it. And
Is
put it
that
through
always
the
open?
paces.
Is the Riccici course always open?
Open 24/7.
There you go.
You get off at You get off at Arlington, Darrington, and you just follow 524 East. Excuse me. And you're on it. You can stop and grab a slice of the greasiest pizza you've ever eaten at the Pilot Truck Stop, and then
The Pilot Drug Stop Pizza. Yeah.
Mikey,
I wouldn't be
this
afraid to
pizza-
eat at a Pilot.
This pizza is beyond recognition.
It's a weapon.
It sure is. It's guaranteed that you'll be looking for the public restroom by the time you get to Darrington.
There are some foodstuffs in Washington State that actually delayed the winning of the West by years. The simple ingestion of some foodstuff will delay history.
What do you got going on this weekend? You Commodoring it?
I may. We have a member of our family going through cancer treatment, and we're taking care of this kid. And it's
Keep in my prayers, man.
It's so daunting to get used to talking about chemo, radiation, and surgery all in the last month. My namesake, Bradley Knight Musha. I haven't talked about it on the air before, but he's fighting it. He's a trooper of the first water, and he's been through all that and still has some months to go before. But he's going to beat it.
Well, Mikey, you're a strong guy, and he should be very happy. He's got a grandpa like you to kind of hold his hand.
Well, in his eyes, I'm not. He has no idea what my real name is. I'm the Commodore to him, and that's the way it should be.
That's the way it should be. A Commodore is a position of strength, I believe.
It's an honorary position that I awarded myself with absolutely little or no effort, and it's stuck. And so I didn't want to be called Grandpa, and so this is my invention to avoid it.
I like that. You know, if I ever get bestowed that Grandpa thing, I'll have to consider something like that.
Well, I am a grandfather, and I'm proud of it, and I welcome it. But
the Grandpa thing kind of.
I know. I wanted it on my own terms, I guess.
Yeah.
And,
maybe I'll go with Don Cheech.
Why not?
Yeah, how about if I would go with Don Cheech? That would be very...
It's an honorary name, and when the kid calls you Don Cheech in the store, people go, "Oh, morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
How's the skimming going?"
And I get one of them hats like Marlon Brando.
No, don't wear a fedora. Oh, God. Vinnie, you'll do federal prison. No, not the fedora.
Just stay out of Las Vegas.
Go up to Washington when you got your UFO sightings. Go on, get out of here.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's go look for UFOs. All right, man. I guess that'll wrap it up, huh? For another spectacular edition of Mikey and Vinnie Take on the World. You want to?
Why am I thinking that there's going to be a big story break? And it hasn't happened. I've been waiting for it for the past couple of days. I got this anticipation that something big is coming. So if you're a news freak like we are, tell me if it happens. Bulletin me.
Well, I'll bulletin us, and I mean, I guess the biggest story is the one we didn't even talk about today because this guy is such a scumbag.
Oh, Murdaugh?
Yeah, that
Scumbag, Vinnie, all he was a thief, a drug addict, and a murderer. Now, some people think that's not being as a staunch American. Well, in South Carolina, they have a different way of looking at it. I know they were patting themselves on the back, but I thought the man who's running your town is three things. He's a thief, he's a drug addict, and he's a murderer. And it took the best men in town to put him away.
And not for nothing, but 50 to 60 oxycodone pills a day. How is this guy dead?
Well, what I was thinking is I've heard of constipation before, but never on that scale.
Yeah, he probably farted and killed him. Never mind. Never mind. Shooting him. Well, you know what? There was just something, he just had that look, man. That dude had that look of like, I'd do anything to get out of anything that I got into.
They'll do anything and anyone.
Exactly. And unfortunately, his poor wife and young son paid for it, and now he will pay for it.
And how did that work? How did that work in his mind that by killing them, he was going to liberate himself from what? How did that add up in the end?
It was the guy that paid somebody to kill him. I mean, this is a
now,
guy
that was a good place to start.
Right. Now, if he would have just done that, I'd say, hey, you know what? The guy that killed him, let him go. He did it. He did the community a service. And his wife and his kid would be, because I guess he had a huge insurance policy on him.
Oh, I see. That was it.
So, right, he didn't want to come in. He had the balls to commit suicide. So he said, if I get shot or I get killed, my kids will get the money, $10 million or whatever it is, and then that'll, take care of everything I stole, I guess. I guess he was still thinking like a lawyer.
Well, for a lawyer, he should have read the fine print. If it had been suicide, they weren't going to pay. And if it had been murder, they weren't going to pay anyway.
Oh, I don't know. Did they pay on murder?
Not if they could challenge it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't think they would have wrote the check out right away. But who knows? You get a guy like murder, he gets murdered. You got, I mean, he's a man of standing in the community.
Well, if the policy was written by one of the good old boys who worked down the street, then you might get a payment. Indeed.
And I loved it. And I didn't really follow this trial at all. I wasn't. I peeked in on it a couple of times, but I wasn't. I wasn't hanging on to every word of it or anything like that. I could give a crap less. I feel bad for the people who are dead. But what kind of person has the nerve to kill their wife and kill their son?
Well, I think they're looking not too closely, but certainly taking a look at the past cases that his family's been involved in. His father, his grandfather. There was 3 or 4 generations of prosecutors and judges that came out of that town. And the judge in this case said, I wonder what type of justice was dispensed by other members of your family over years in this room.
I mean, if especially in a place like that, if you're if you're somebody who was sentenced to a life term or death or something like that from one of these people, one of these prosecutors, the Murdaughs, I guess you'd go back and look at it, right?
And in a town like that, everyone's a Mason or everyone's not a Mason, depending on how the town works.
Kiwanis or an odd fellow or something like that.
I wouldn't want the
odd fellows.
I wouldn't want the odd fellows coming for me in the night. I just don't feel.
My dad was an odd fellow.
You joined the club and you joined the Odd Fellows. Wasn't there a bowling league or something with a cooler name that you could identify with?
My dad was an odd fellow. We used to go to the Odd Fellows picnic in upstate New York.
I'm going to pass on that. I'm just going to let it.
I always thought that it was like the weirdest named for a club.
Have fun. Don't eat the potato salad if they leave it in the sun, and that's all. That's fine.
He was a member of the IOOF, the International Order of the Odd Fellows.
Well, I was with the even fellows for a while, but they weren't any better.
I see. I'm bad at math, so I don't go odd or even.
Mostly, they were just comparing themselves to the odd fellows.
I'll go with the Lions Club.
At least they have lunches.
Right, and they have those nice signs, and they collect eyeglasses for people.
Well, I'm with Groucho Marx. I wouldn't belong to any club that would have me as a member. So
I would agree with that. Thank you very much. All right, I will see you Monday morning at 10:10 if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise, Mikey.
Monday it is. See you then.
All right, peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine.
Thank
And
you
say
all
goodbye
for
to Joan. Say goodbye to Joan of Arc. She carried the whole show today, the poor girl, and she's probably going to get burned alive for it.
She got us through the first half hour, at least. And thanks to everybody who listened. Please join us again Monday. And don't forget to, on YouTube, to subscribe and to like us so that our algorithm will get straight.
And also, we can finally get the prayer cloths in the mail.
Yeah, we want to get those prayer cloths going. We want the prayer cloths. All right. Take care.